Your flag is waving, hey, freely in the air. Oh, let me hear you sing.
We are free at last. We are free at last. We are free at last.
Sing it loud.
We are free at last.
Remember the day, a day of jubilation. Freedom has come today. Salute the martyrs, salute the warriors. Freedom has come today. Rise up, your banner is waving.
Welcome to South Sudan today. My name is Myong Kwand. You are watching us live in the United States. This is South Sudan today, and this is the program we have been working on for almost a year now. I want to welcome all our viewers, and I want to welcome every new person that is watching us. Of course, we will have the lineup of our show tonight. We will be giving you the topics, and of course, our first topic that we usually have every evenings on Wednesday is the leadership topics with Dr. Taj, who will be coming in soon. I want you to stay tuned as we prepare to bring in our guest for the next discussions, and number of topics will be laid out to you. Again, hang on with us. We are going to play some music for you for now, and then we will be coming. I want to say welcome, Sarah Dole, as you've been coming to us all the time. Welcome wherever you are. Please join Sarah with us, and let's have a great evening. I will give you some highlights of what is happening around South Sudan today, and as well as around the world, because number of South Sudanese in diaspora have a lot of information that are worth discussing. So don't go away. We will be right back.
Today we are free. Oh yes, we are free at last. Freedom has come today. We had a dream, burning like a fire. Yeah, dream has come true today. We are believers, believing in the struggle. Yeah, dream has come true today. Rise up, your banner is waving, hey, freely in the air. Rise up, your flag is waving, hey, freely in the air. Oh, let me hear you sing.
We are free at last. We are free at last. We are free at last.
Sing it loud.
We are free at last.
Remember the day, a day of jubilation. Freedom has come today. Salute the martyrs. Salute the world.
If this peace agreement is implemented in full, it will give us all the reformations in all sectors that we have been yearning for. And such being achieved, if we achieve, I believe that if this peace agreement is implemented in full, it will give us all the reformations in all sectors that we have been yearning for. And such being achieved, if we achieve, I believe that if this peace agreement is implemented in full, it will give us all the reformations in all sectors that we have been yearning for.
Freedom has come today. Rise
Welcome to South Sudan today. My name is Myong Kwant. We are about to start our show. The guest is here. We have not seen Dr. Thaj, I think, in 2 weeks. And partially it's because he's very busy, but the last week was the fault of this program because we had technical difficulties. But tonight he's going to be here with us. For all those who have missed his voice, he will be coming as soon as we start our program. But before we bring Dr. Thach to the show, these are the lineup of what we'll be discussing tonight. As I sent it out last week as a question, it is very important for us to know what it is that we really need to do in this country, especially the diasporas, South Sudanese diaspora, wherever they are, as long as you're not in South Sudan, you are completely one of the diasporas. And the question is this: it references the saying that it takes a village, it takes a whole village to raise a child. This question is a question that will be answered tonight in these discussions. Myself and Dr. Thach will be discussing it here at Right Live in this show. What we are wanted to let people know and discuss these questions, the importance of this question is that if it takes a whole village where we come from to raise one child, how many people here in America will it take to raise one child? This answer will come as soon as we bring Dr. Thach to the show. For the rest, we will have the SPLM tonight inside later after the show when we finish with Dr. Thach. And anybody that want to know what is happening around South Sudan in politics will be able to have chance to discuss that part. But for now, let's talk about the welfare of our families, ourselves, and our community. Let's welcome Dr. Thach to the show. Dr. Thach, welcome to the show.
Happy to be back, my brother, Ambassador Myong. Nice to see your face again. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Doing well. I guess.
That's
Yeah,
very good because I want to make sure that I put my tie well.
yeah.
I have been rushing to.
You look very presentable so far.
I have rushed. I have rushed to the program because I don't want what happened last week that can
Yes.
happen again this week. But again, we miss you for the last 2 weeks that you were not being here, and we knew that you were there for a very good cause. We wanted to know before we start, as we usually start our programs, what is it around Tennessee, Nashville, the music city that we know tonight? We should know tonight.
The music city has been a music city for a while, and it continues to be a music city. We are experiencing a growing number of people that are from the different states trying to come here to be part of us. We are also experiencing the same challenge each city is going through, each people, everyone is going through now.
Mhm.
The gas price, which actually is another issue, in addition to issues that are also, I think, not only for the people who are actually feeding the young children because of the lack of this resources that they have, but we're also seeing so many other things that are actually turning to becoming a different issue. So yeah, with the school coming to an end, colleges has already end. The high school and middle school are also coming to an end. A number of celebrations that are happening. Some will be happening soon. We have a number of young children graduating from, I would say, from the kindergarten all the way to, people who are owning their doctorate degree. We're having a young lady in Nashville, in Tennessee, actually, who will be our first MD in Tennessee this fall. So
Wow.
I'm not going to make an announcement now, so because she's actually planning to make it public very soon, so I don't want to be ahead of myself. That is exciting. And there's a number of the others who also graduating from high school, from going to college, and those who are graduating from college to, extended to continue their education and etc. So I think it's a very exciting period when so much of the other thing also are going on in all over the world that are also challenging the suffering of our people, the deaths in Gambela and South Sudan, the ongoing crisis in Ukraine, and et cetera, and et cetera. So all of the others are also happening. But again, I would say we should be thankful to God. We also should be thankful to some of the things that are happening now.
That is very true. That is very true. Speaking of potential medical doctors within our community, now let's dive into our show. The question was, if it takes an entire village to raise a child in Africa, how many people here will it takes to raise a child in America? Perhaps in America we do have much smaller families than we're back home. That is one. Two, what is your text, Dr. Thaj, as you started rightly, of a young South Sudanese or young South Sudanese American almost coming up with I probably she will be the first, not only in the community, but even within her own family, to have that type of degree. I think this is the question that we need to throw to our family, but I want to throw it to you first.
Right.
So, how many needed to raise a child in America?
Before I answer the question in America, let me dive in a little bit of what I think this theory of Africans that it takes a village to raise a child meant, and whether this is a theory that can actually be implied here and could be put into work in America. And I also would want to share my perspective on that in a broader sense. I think in village in Africa, it does take a whole village to raise a child. And that I think it has a lot of meaning. Part of it is that some people in the village know one another. They all live in communal places. Most of them are becoming family and extended family and et cetera, et cetera. So people know the child of someone in the country. And then sometime when it comes to some of the things that kid goes through during the growing aspect, child will go to places where he or she might not have immediate family member. And if the child had an issue, say for example another child is beating another child, and any adult will come in and separate them, or even punish or discipline the older child for doing things like that. If the family do not have what it takes, because we are not giving equally with materials back home, and there is a need for supporting this family, a child who does not have what it takes in that family can also be supported by the extended family or by the closer member within the village. So the theory works so well in village in Africa, and I think it does also work so well in other village too, not only in Africa. It does take the communal, it does take everybody to support that child. And when a child grow up, child will also remember the people who are actually involved in their life and his or her life, and that child can also give back to the community in some sense. Now, would that theory work here in the West? Could you, as a father or a mother, or both, or a single person at home, or even a couple at home, have their child be supported by the network within their community? Part of it is a cultural issue that we have here. And also, it is also a lot of work that we all involved in here. Yes, there are programs. There are programs that can support a single family to support a child to succeed.
That's
But
right.
those programs even though they are there, it also takes the people who are raising the child to have that child have access to the program and have that program, so that program help the child succeed. So having someone else coming to do much into supporting your child by providing them, the need, academic need, or maybe social emotional need, or career development need, or some sort of a growth need, who is not an immediate family. This culture here dictates that it is not working. It doesn't really work. But also, if a family, for example, I had a single parent at home who's now the guardian of the child, who's taking care of the child, who is supporting the child, can that person get support from the neighbor who might be also there that can also be available to provide such a support to the child? In some cases, there are some assistance like that, but it's not all the time. Can I drop my child to you so I can go to work? How long could you keep my child? And I will come back and not, and you will not be compensated for watching the child. Can my child go on the street, and anybody else from the street who will be walking around will see my child walking alone and guide my child to return home, or if anything happened to the child, then that child will get that sort of a support. That thing here doesn't really work that much. So we live in a community. Yes, there are some good people in the community who can also say they saw something, but they also will fear to interfere into that sort of a need
I
because
think that,
the indirect challenge.
that okay, if I can interject on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Back home, and I will speak of an experience because I came from there, right? I'm not an expert or anything on that part, but I was there myself, so I've seen it. I felt it. Uh, I remember when I went to school in Kenya. Um, that was back in the 90s, mid 90s. I was in high school, and the rule was that if you see a child in uniform loitering outside at a time that that child should have been in school, whoever found that child on a street, on a corner, must interfere and ask, why, what are you doing here? You know, in this country it doesn't happen like that because that person would have been a stranger. In a country like Kenya, a child with a, I don't know about now, but those days, a child that has a uniform stop on a bus stop. If the bus doesn't come and a car, just a random other passenger comes, that child can just jump in there and then stop the next on the next road. I mean, on the next stop sign going to her school or his school. Thing like that is a trust that come from community. It's not a trust that come from a book. It's not a trust that come from a law that someone written there and saying that this is the law of the place. But compared to what you are saying here, Dr. Thain, it's totally different. It's totally different, and it's actually working better because people are living individual lives here. A life where single family, a mother and a father will raise their children. Even the next neighbor will only know the name, but will not much involved in anything. But what I want you to answer here is this. Could it be the reason why immigrants from Africa, specifically from our country, could be the reason why they end up congregated in one place? Or is it because they can't get along with the indigenous?
So there are two things to this. Yes, part of it is true. Uh, if you remember when we came to this country some years back, we wanted to continuous togetherness. So we wanted to continuous togetherness for two reasons. Once we felt comfortable that if when we were together, we can do things together. And some of the things we thought we could do together are not a lot about here. There will be about things that we can do together about our people back home. So we can only encourage ourselves to do things like this. For example, if we wanted to support a particular group of people, support a particular mission in Africa, or wanted to establish an institution here, like say, for example, our community-based organizations or faith-based organizations, churches. So we wanted to come together so we can build those things, so we can continuously speak our language. Because part of what we fear, and I think it's still after today, we fear that if we speak this language, the foreign language that you and I are speaking now,
Mhm.
we will lose our language, and when we will lose our language, Nuer, for example, we will lose our culture, and when we lose our culture, we will lose our connection to where we came originally. So we want to continue speaking our language, and the only way that can happen is when we are together, and when we are together in one community, in one area. And then the other thing too had to do with that we thought if we could get together, to answer your question, we thought that if I have an issue, for example, I wanted to go to work, but I don't have a means of transportation, but Ambassador Myung has a vehicle, then Ambassador Myung will come and pick me up so we can drive together. So I don't know, I can go to John or Mac or Stephanie to say those kind of things, because they might not even understand why I don't have a vehicle when I'm
Oh,
working a job.
but you see now, that's another topic by itself.
Yeah.
This is another way of killing time, and killing time that means wasting money, and wasting money that means we don't have anything. Why?
Right.
Because as you say that you will call a dwarf to to give you a ride, right?
Right.
A dwarf will have his line of thing to do on that particular time you are calling him, and if that was an emergency, that's fine. But even though if it was an emergency too, it needs the fact that if something happened to you, you might have also a plan B, even if it didn't happen. Why? Because what I realize here in this country, despite the fact that I live in a very remote part of America where there's no many metro, right?
Right.
Many South Sudanese from all walks of lives, few of them use bus. They all have vehicle. And the funny part is, if something goes wrong with the car he or she is driving, everything shut down, everything stopped. They must look for someone to pick them up. They must look for they call from they can even wait for hours waiting for someone to pick them up. You see, these things are another problem that we need to teach ourselves, because if go ahead.
Yeah, well, I see your point. I see your point, and I understand exactly what you are coming from. It's true. It's true that when you see, we're not lacking resources because there's no resources. We're lacking resources because of lack of education. We do not know exactly what is up there, and part of it is that coming to America, especially those of us who came humbly, okay, those who did not have the foundation. You might be different from myself when I came, okay, or somebody else might be different from the others. But typically, especially if you're talking about Sudanese or South Sudanese for that matter, when they came here, I had done a research at one point where I had a stage of integration. And in the stage of integrations, there are processes that have to be in place at a specific time. You got to have this for you to know that, and to have this connect with the others. So there's a new arrival stage, which is where when people came to this country, they thought this is like a paradise. You know, I remember at one point, a person mentioned this to us when we were in Langata, Kenya, in 95, 96, 94, 95, I guess, and say that he told a group of people that I'm leaving for America. So the way it is we're going up. we're going up, and I'm sorry if you guys will have no chance to come and be with us. So we will always be looking at you. So we are going up, and we're
That was that person impression by then, and I'm
So
happy where that person is today.
right. But so the concept is that we're coming here. We all have the anxiety of coming to the new land. We hope so much. We have a huge expectation. We think things will be okay, and nothing will affect us as such. So after a few years here, I would say after a few months, before a year, people move from the arrival stage to a new American stage, and this is where the adjustment stage. This is where they have to adjust, and when they adjust to a culture which is different from their culture. When they don't even know what to connect, and when they don't know what to connect, if they are not adjusting right, regardless of how long they have been to this country, they only relies on what had been with them when they first arrived here. So this is why you think if someone came and the only mean of transportation he or she has from the beginning was for someone else to give them right to go somewhere, that will stuck with them even when they had lived here a little longer, because they have not been connected, they have not been introduced to other resources, other mean of transportation. And
Well,
when
well,
there is not that, that will be a part of the challenge. I
I
think, yeah.
yeah, you that's exactly what's happening, and that's what I'm trying to connect to think to say that it shouldn't be one, it shouldn't be the reason why, because once you are here, right? It doesn't matter who receive you from day one. It doesn't matter what services you get from day one. Whatever you learn here is what will change everything that you receive the day that you arrived here, right? Because and let me shout to our viewers here on online. They are saying some great things. Elbow said, "I use bus every day." Thank you. That's great, because not only that you save money, but you will know the area very well. You will actually navigate easily. It costs less, and it just perfect, right? I once said, Nyapini, welcome back. I haven't seen you in a while. Tell us where you've been, and then what is it that we should know too as well. For our senior supporter and viewers and Sarah Gold, I want to say thanks again to you and everyone else that's coming. Brother Chankot Ganya Tungong is also online. Will be coming very soon. We greet you. We have a program coming up. Yes, Dr. Thaj, listen, I think one of the problem is that the reason that Americans introduced these many cars has has some chilling effects too. It's positive, but at the same time, it's not so positive, because it keep people in their own cocoons, in their own whatever they are, and not getting connected to the system. Look, it's so costly. You buy a car, you work so hard that you keep the car, you work so hard that you must have a license. You actually owning a car, I'm not telling people not to own a car, but owning a car shouldn't be the first choice, especially if you live in a metropolitan area, because you save money. Your children will be able to easily get to where they are, because a big bus or whatever the city bus is so easy to access. I'm talking about things that can save you some money. I'm not telling people not to buy their car. It's this American dream. You have to be independent. That's fine. But I'm talking about what if that car you have, you know, breakdown? What if for some reasons you don't have the access to your car? You gotta have plan B, always plan C. Not just knowing that I know Garwich and then I will call him, or I know Nyalwak because Nyalwak will pick me up. And if they don't pick me up, then they are not my friend anymore, or they are not my relative anymore. This causes also problem in our community. But going back to the point of raising a child,
Right.
Back home, and you know this very well, Dr. Faj, a child that is raised by a female, specifically a male raised by a mother that is a widow, seem to be missing a lot in life. And you know where I'm coming from, right? So this culture has been ingrained in our system, that a woman cannot raise a child by himself. Well, we are in America now, and we have seen it happen. So, what is the change?
I don't know whether I agree with the statement as such, but I think you have a point. You have a point whether the child is raised by a man or a woman. If a child is raised by one person and not the other person, that child will miss something. That the contribution of the other person will be missed. And
Well,
especially,
not just a person,
let's say, for
just a
example, if
person.
that child is a boy
Mhm.
and is raised by the mother,
Yes.
the aspect of the father will not be there. So that part would be missed. But it also, if you are a man and you are raising a girl, that aspect of the women, that woman to the woman will also be missed. So I don't know whether I would say a specific person in that sense.
Well,
But now,
In South
that's not
Sudan,
the case. Huh?
in South Sudan,
Yes,
if for God's sake that the mother, the one that died, right,
right.
the man will either take the child to the next kin or will get married to the next one. So
And in that case,
there's almost virtually nobody,
in
no
that
man
case
that can
also,
raise a child by himself.
and that's the case also, the children of the deceased mother
Yes.
will always miss something.
Yeah, no,
And-
I
and
know
the-
that part, but
Yeah.
I'm talking about where these people come, where the stigma come from.
Right.
In
But
order
let
to
me
take that
let,
check, you know
let,
that, right?
let's get back
Okay.
to the logic.
Anyway,
of
let's
the
get back
thing
to the point. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Complete
So
that.
the child would, can a child be raised by the community here in
Yes.
this country? I would say so in some sense, the child can be raised by the community, and I'll tell you why.
And
The
how?
the structure that we have here in the city, in the country, in the developing nation is different to the structure we have in the village. Now, in the village, you need the support of your immediate family. You need the support of extended family. You need the support of your communal family, and et cetera, et cetera. And in, like I said earlier, if the child step out and happen to do anything wrong or had some harm, anyone can emerge and assist that child or discipline the child in some sense. And if there are any missed resources in your family and you are seeking help from, you might not even get it from your immediate family, but people closer to you can be there to support for your children to survive. How would you work? How would you translate this to the current life? For example, the countries in the United States, let's take the United States for example. There are programs. There are programs in the communities. There are programs in the school that support children. But those programs, your child cannot benefit to those programs unless you introduce your child to those programs. There are sport programs, the academic program, the social emotional program, the development program. There are a number of programs that actually are you can look at those programs as another way of how we translated the village aspect to this urban development nation aspect. Because, for example, if you are let's say you are a single father or you are a single mother, but you have a schedule which you go work in the daytime, okay, and at the same daytime that you work is the same daytime your child goes to school, and in the morning and after evening you come the same time your child comes. Now you can attend number of the programs your child will be able to attend. Some of these things would be things that will support the growth of the child, whether it be academic, sport, or what have you. Those are things that you might not even have to have them themselves, but they will discipline your child. For example, if the child is in a sport program, even if the child has a different behavior, they will discipline that child for you, and you will actually have a leader that will be developed by other people. And if you had your contribution into that child can develop effectively. The same thing to other programs. So what is missing is leaving a child alone, and somebody else will emerge to protect that child from harm. That's not going to happen because we live in a developing world where anything can harm. Culturally, which is translated into the law and principle that we have here, they don't accept those things. If you leave child alone, they will be considered as a neglect. And if it's neglect, instead of people supporting you, they will actually think that you are not really needing to risk to support that child, and the child will be taken to somebody else who will actually be able to care with it for the child. That is not maybe not what you intended to do, but you can end up be in that thought, be put into that sense. So what I'm really trying to say is this: yes, we are not in the village where your family, your immediate family, your extended family, your communal family, your even part of your country people can support your child and protect your child from harm. We live in a different environment where things are done differently. But even within this environment, if you strategically use your time wisely, which I always say, people do not manage time. You manage priorities because time is Monday to Friday, and Monday to Sunday, and also is in morning and to the evening. So you prioritize what you really need to do. If you do prioritize your time and you do think effectively, you actually will have people in that community call them community, but you can also call it a village, and they will actually
So
support you.
that's right. So you saying that the saying in Africa that it take a child to raise, it take a village to raise a child is actually here, but completely in a different way.
In a different format, yes, exactly.
Okay, that definitely makes sense because when you explain this, it is in a different form now, but only when the community is organized.
And the organization, there are two different ways of organization. One mistakes we have as South Sudanese is thinking that my only community is my community with people in Nebraska while I'm in Tennessee. That is not how the community is. Community is not like that. Community is people in the same community, the same area where you live. If where you live is not where you want to live, maybe that's not where you need to be. You need to be at where you really need to be. Because of that community is where you can actually see the success of your children or yourself, or failure of your children or yourself. What you can, if you wanted to sustain, which I actually encourage, if you wanted to sustain your culture, if you wanted to sustain everything else that you want for your country, for your heritage to continue, there are ways you can also introduce them into that new culture, new community, and that thing can also sustain. But how can you make your children succeed? How can you make yourself succeed within that community? Because it is that community where you live is where your root will begin. And in fact, if you don't do what you're supposed to do there, no matter where else, you will not be able to do it as well.
Perfect. So you're saying that I like that part because a lot of our people here think that where their relatives lives, even if they are not in the very immediate state they live in, they think that that's the most close person. It's good to hear from you that your neighbor or your community member is the most closest person, whether your sister, your brother, or even someone that you don't even know. The fact that you guys are in the same community make it work. And once you make it work, then the community will definitely. That is perfect. Well, let's identify the program, and we will be right back. Don't go anywhere. No, don't go anywhere.
We don't see our leaders, actually dialoguing with each other.
Meritocracy of older people. You can see there's different elder councils from different tribal groups that are essentially running things and overlooking us young people.
Convince that person that please I am me, I'm not they.
Nobody even showed up to vote. It was only me and my roommate.
Peace agreement is implemented in full, it will give us all the reformations in all sectors that we have been yearning for. And such being achieved, if we achieve.
Welcome back to South Sudan. Today we are talking about the community and raising a child. It takes a whole village to raise a child back home. And the question here is, does it take the entire community in America to raise a child? We have been discussing great points, and Dr. Thaj is giving us a great insight on how, if we make our community a perfect place to live, our children will have a great life as well. Well, let's welcome Dr. Thaj to the show. Dr. Thaj, welcome back to the show.
Oh, nice to be back.
Yes, we were talking about having a community being an important part of a child that we are raising. But I want to enter something here on one of our viewers that was watching. What Dr. Is Mr. Simon Joe says, Mr. Speakers, you are not living in a developing world. You are actually living in a developed world. I think Dr. Thatch meant the cities within Africa when he was talking about. If that's the slip of tongue, that's fine. Of course, we live in a developed world. That's right. You're right. That's what you meant. I want to welcome Nyakong Luak and also Bol Rick for coming to the show tonight. Yes, Dr. Thaj, as we coming to 10 more minutes of our show, and then we segue to the other one, I want you to also add part of, now we have a community, we have a child to raise, but where the leadership here?
Right. Leadership, like we talked on a number of occasions about what it meant to be a leader and the leadership within the level of the community. I also think leadership is a broader term, which sometimes we don't use it right. We don't use it right. Since we all know, and I believe many of the viewers also know, that leadership is a verb, it's not a noun. And it is a verb that means action. So what you do as a father, as a mother, from the level of the family is leadership. Okay? What you do to ensure that you set goals, you set priorities, okay? You execute against those goals, those priorities. You ensure there is an outcome. You have ways to assess the outcome. And when you set those goals, you also involve the others within the family. And this is where the importance of leadership comes, because leadership is all about influence. You don't influence people who do not appreciate what you do and involve them to what you do. You influence people because they think what you do is also affect them positively, and they are also part of that, so that they have to contribute together with you. This means your children, your family has to be part of that process. But your job as a leader within that family is to set a priority goal, strategic objective. What is it that we want as a family? What is it that we want for that child? Why do we think this is what the child wants? Can we support the child for what he or she wants? Not what we want, because we know what we want, but do we know what the child wants? Because you can only support someone with what they want. If you force them to do what you want, they will not do it. They will pretend that they are going to do it, but in the long run, you see it that there will be no outcome. So leadership in the family.
But what if the child want to play video games the whole day, the whole night in the house?
So if you are a leader as your family, and of course I would say if you are a family, if you are a head of the family, you're the head of the you are the leader of the family. You have to bring that person to a discussion. What is it that that person want in the future? Is this the video game? Does he or she wanted to develop the video game? Will the video game bring him or her what he want in the future? What is it that he want in the future? How is he going to achieve that? So telling them don't just play video game, it's not going to help. But drive video game as a part of the process to set up a goal. He or she will see why it is not possible to achieve that strategic objective when he or she is wasting time. So, and then the process of eliminating what you don't want will be a process that will involve all of you. So I would say, let's say if you want to play, you want to go to college, what would it take for you to go to college? If you wanted to become a business person, you want to create a business, what kind of business are you going to create it? When are you going to decide to work specifically on that particular business? What is it that you would want from me to help you? If you want to play sport, like for example, my kids play sport. Okay, if they do play sport, in order for you to be accepted to one of those top schools to play sport, you have to have a good GPA. And then for you to get that GPA, it will mean you have to read books. You're not just going to play a game or play sport, or play or exercise, or at least practice. You have to do both. You have to read. You have to practice. Because if you don't do it, you will be poorly performing in your academic, which will actually going to supplement whatever you will have in the sport-wise. So I think that's how you can actually drive this in the family level. Now, when it comes to the community level, like I said earlier, community begin with what you have in that community, from the neighbor, from the extended neighbor, and etc. Now, if you guys have one thing in your city, and you call it your community, call it whatever community, there has to be a strategic objective that you all have to see to appreciate and celebrate when time comes for them. What are those? What are your goals for that year? Do you have 5 goals? Do anyone know them? What are those goals? Can these be goals that the leader will be made accountable for? Who is going to do what? And what is our role in those kind of things? How are we going to know? When are we going to know the outcome? So a leader set goal, solve problem, provide direction. So if you do this in the level of the community, then you now create a way for people to be actually have the kind of community that they want, the kind of community, because everybody will see their role. Everybody will see why they need to be part of that. Everybody will see that they have a benefit in it. Because, when you talk about politics, sometimes people misunderstand what politics is. Politics is everything. It's about interest. So community has a politics. You just don't want to create politics that divide you. It has to be a communal politics that is only about achieving the objective of everybody, not about turning people apart, hurting one another, talking negatively on people on things that are not factual. Things that are dividing people are not good for the community, because community is a family. When you turn family apart, when you turn the community apart, you strategically actually killing everybody, and people will not be able to move forward. I'm having a low battery. I don't know why. Let me check.
You're right. You got to a good point. Go ahead and check your. You want to change it, or you want?
Let me check what is happening. Yeah.
Okay. Then you will be right back. Well, Dr. Thatch was working on a statement that he was trying to put together, but he will be right back. Don't go away. We will be right back.
like a fire. Yeah, we must come true today. We are believers, believing in the struggle. Yeah, we must come true today. Rise up, your banner is waving, hey, freely in the air. Rise up, your flag is waving, hey, freely in the air. Oh, let me hear you sing.
We are free at last. We are free at last. We are free at last. We are free at last.
Remember the day, a day of jubilation. Freedom must come today. Salute the martyrs, salute the warriors. Freedom must come today. Rise up, your banner is waving, hey, freely in the air. Rise up, your flag is waving, hey, freely in the air. Oh, let me hear you sing.
We are free at last. We are free at last. We are free at last. We are free at last.
We were marginalized, but never, never surrendered. We choose to be free.
We are free at last.
They tried to colonize us, to do away with our culture, and we said no, no.
We are free at last.
Across the bridge, in the promised land, let's celebrate our victory.
We are free at last.
We are in the promised land. We have made our history. Let's celebrate. We are free at last.
We are.
We cannot hear you, sir.
Oh, see, all these things I've been saying, you didn't even hear me. I was
Yeah, no, we have not.
saying.
We've not heard
Well,
you.
anyway, I was telling you so that you were not listening to me. Um, our show is coming to an end, and that's that will actually come to end it now because he had a thought, but his battery was getting low, so he had to go and get it fixed. But we will have the next segment of the show that's coming up shortly as soon as we finish on this, and that will involve Simon Toot, which is known as Chankol Ganya Tungong, will be coming, and we'll be discussing about the SPLMIO tonight. There's a lot on this topic, and it is hot. It is SPLM party, and it is South Sudan as well. So, Dr. Thach, now we have a great community. We have discussed on how we in the community can lead ourselves. So, give us the part that we need to go for the rest of the week and remember. What is it that should we do as parents?
I would say that I appreciate the show. I like the idea that the concept of child can be raised by the village, the whole village, is a good concept. And I think this is a concept that we can apply here in the West with our children. But the only way to do it, we have to do it in the way things are done here, not the way things are done back in our own home where we all came. The way it has done here is done here. If you make yourself create leadership in your family, if you are a mother or a father, or both of you are at home, uh, be a leader and live in living in this traditional world. I mean, the current world that we are in now is a modern world where dynamically we are changing every single day. So, in that to happen, you have to involve your children into the strategic goal that the family need to do for each one of you in the family to succeed. The parent should continue to develop themselves academically. They can also develop themselves. Uh, Everybody should always continue learning new things. And in that sense, if you continue to learn as a person at home to equip yourself, that can be cast down to the children. So if you are putting effort to your development as a parent, your children will see that. And the children will want to make sure that they are not only challenging you, but they wanted to make you proud by doing
Mhm.
good things. And then they will actually
I
become
want to answer a quick question. Sorry to cut you off. Someone asked here to ask you to elaborate on the importance of having community in the Western world, and actually talking about the African community, specifically the South Sudanese community in the Western world. What's the importance of having that community?
they keep the culture together. I think it is important to have a community. I think it is a community that empower people. If you look at several communities that are organized in this country, they are the means for their community member to succeed. Take youth community for example. Youth has a local, the federal community like a federation, the Jewish Federation. And they also have a local communities. Those local community address the local issues. They address the youth development issues. From the very beginning, they will create program within their their, their
The immediate
the churches, but they're not called church, but I forgot the name. So anyway, so in their churches,
or you talk about
the Jewish temple. So
okay.
at each temple, they create program. From the very beginning, children of the Jews will learn not only the language and the culture, but they also will learn what their interests would be in when they grew up. If a child wanted to becoming a doctor, if a child wanted to become an engineer, if a child wanted to becoming a politician, if a child wanted to be a business person, those qualities, those professions are trends to the kid when they are very, very young. So now you grew up with a concept of what you want to be. Their community support that. Now they do also travel. They send kids to places. They send them overseas to their original country. According to what I learned and heard, a child in Jewish community by age 5 or 6 will be sent together with his or her mother, or in that case, to Israel. And then the child will be neutral, will get the citizenship of Israel. Then will come back. If the family cannot support their travel, their community will accommodate that. And then when child return back to either, let's say, United States, this child already learned something new about the original background. They learned about Jewish culture, Jewish story. Now they came back with a mindset of what they can actually do, not only for themselves, which is the challenge we have in this country, because we are all wanting to be individual about me, me, me. But now, no, it's not possible.
All right. I think Dr. Thatcher's battery went off, and he was in the middle of explaining how a Jewish child get to, go back to the country and get citizenship and then come back. Yes, it's true that Chankot Jewish has they have synagogues, but also a temple is part of the name of synagogue as well. They also call Shul, Chuul, also the national name. So it does have three names: the synagogue, the temple. It's also Shul, or however you pronounce that. So while we wait for Dr. Thaj to complete his thought on this segment, I want to introduce you to the next segment that is coming, and that will again invite our brother Simon Toot, also known as Chankot Benetungong. And Chankot, I think I want you to get prepared to get in so that we quickly start the next segment so that we can go forward. But again, Dr. Taj, welcome back to the show. You had problem with the battery today.
I think there's the battery issues, and
Yes.
hopefully it's going to last me a little bit. So what
Okay.
I'm just trying to say is this: the organization that we have here in the West, if we organize them well, if we establish them well, if we manage them well, if we create the why they are to exist, and we understand exactly what we want to do, they can not only just support us here in the West, they can actually be the reason for us to be better in the West, to also be better back home. If you read from number of the books, you will find that the success of several countries all over the world has a lot to do with their people who have come here, who have come to the West. But that just didn't really come randomly. People have to organize themselves, and they have to know exactly what they want. If you are creating a community with number of business-minded people, if you're creating a community with a number of career developing people, if you're creating a community with a number of people who are now successful, that success will not only live here in the West. That success will also be transferred to back home. But it has to be. We have to organize well. We have to know what it takes for the organization to succeed. Why do we have to have an organization? It has to be clear. What is our mission? What is our vision? How are we going to set our strategic priorities? Who is going to lead this? And what quality and credential this individual has? So what do we want to achieve? And how are we going to go about it? Well, how are we going to evaluate that moving forward? So we have to know that. And we always have to change. The beauty of having a strategic institution is not to stick on something that does not work. If you create something and it does not work, do not continue doing it. It will be an insanity. So to come up with different ways to approach the same thing. And then you can also be able to produce a unique institution that make more sense if you actually are strategic and know exactly what you want for it. I think it is a good thing to have organization, but they have to organize well. They have to be managed well, and they have to know what they are here for. Ambassador Myong, I don't know how my time. So anyway, that's exactly what I wanted to do, and then I wanted to say again, I will leave the family with a sense that children can succeed here. They are our future, but we all have to work for them to be better. There's no way we can have a community that will raise our children without us be part of it. Let's take away that mindset. Yes, we have to have a different way of looking at it, different way of addressing it. It will not be a community just doing it for you. You have to be part of that, and the community will help you. There are programs in your local community that should support your daughter, your son, and also yourself. But again, know what you want and let your family be part of that. Together, you'll make a difference.
Perfect. This is the time we have allotted for this part. We wish that you can continue with us because we also need your expertise on the next chapter, but it will be up to you to
I,
give yourself
I,
a chance.
I'll leave you guys here.
All right.
If I'm done with what I have, maybe I'll come back.
Thank
Otherwise,
you.
I'll see you next. Otherwise, I'll see you next week.
All
Say
right.
hi to the other brother.
You have a nice evening, and I will see you next week for the next
Thank you.
segment of the show. Again,
Thank you so
everybody,
much.
thank you very much for being part of the show. Well, again, welcome everybody. Our next segment, as I've told you, will be the SPLM tonight, and this will be with me and brother Simon Tood, which is known as Chankwa Ganyatongong. We will be talking about the party SPLM IO. We have some report before we get to our topics and discussions. One, in United States this weekend, May 21st, and that is this Saturday, the SPLM IO in the United States will have a huge conference here in Nebraska. This conference will feature a number of leaders of SPLMs who are living here in the United States. It will bring all the SPLM members together, and as well as the well wishes of those who wish to be part of the SPLMIO. The peace we have in South Sudan has introduced and allows the parties to come out and play politics well in a very safe way. We have seen the SPLM-IG traveling around South Sudan, something that should have been done with all the parties, but that is okay because wherever you go, there is blue. So don't believe that you believe blue in Juba. Blue is everywhere. But this is the part of South Sudan we want. This is what we want. If you want to fight anybody, use the politics in a positive way. Use the politics in a way that people will understand you. I know that SPLM IO is the right party, but if you think that it's not the right party, don't just come and fight me. Defeat me within your reasonings of why you think what I support is not right. If you think that SPLM IG is not the right party, which I also can agree with you, then let talk it out in a democratic system in a way that people will respect you for what you believe in, but not what you threat people with. So this is very important, and I'm still waiting for brother Simon Toot to come in. As I wait for him, I will also give myself a short break. I will be right back. For now, I want to play some of the
If this peace agreement is implemented in full, it will give us all the reformations in all sectors that we have been yearning for. And such being achieved, if we achieve, I believe that if this peace agreement is implemented in full, it will give us all the reformations in all sectors that we have been yearning for. And such being achieved, if we achieve.
Welcome back to South Sudan today. We are in the second leg of our show, and this is South Sudan today. The segment is SPLM IO tonight, and I will be discussing this topic or this part of the show with Simon Toot, also known as Chankwa Ganyatungong. What we will be discussing tonight is about the entire progress of what SPLMs around the world as well as in Juba. So stay tuned with us, and let me bring in Simon so that we will dive into the discussion together. Simon, welcome to the show. First, before we dive into all this, how are you doing? And how are people in Australia, specifically in Perth? How are they doing?
Thank you, Ambassador Muyong. I'm quite well, thank God for that. It's a brand new day. It's on a Thursday morning. It's 11:18 a.m. in Perth, Western Australia. And for those of us that live in eastern side of the country, they are 2 hours ahead of us. So it would be around 1 p.m. Western Australia is quite good this morning. There's nothing new. It's the same thing as I explained last week. It's just that the weather is quite a little bit cold, because remember last time when you came to WA, the weather is kind of it's the quality of our weather is a bit warm, so we are accustomed to the warm weather, and when there is a change of weather, we tend to complain, because we live like Africans in Western world.
I remember I went to the oceans, and they told me that the other side of the ocean is South Africa. I was like, really? This is perfect.
So basically, if you are upset with the Australian society, then you can just jump on a boat or a ship, and then you would find yourself on the other end of the ocean, which is South Africa.
That is very true.
Yeah.
But having said that, SPLM IO Simon is everywhere. SPLM IO is bringing and recruiting everywhere because the mission we have. But here is a catch-22. I first want to congratulate our SPLM IO members in United States. I want to congratulate our SPLM member in Juba itself for exercising the right of the party, their right, and also the democracy that we actually call for. So I also want to salute both the president and the first vice president for finally allowing the country to exercise the politics that should have been done long time ago. I want to congratulate the SPLM IO members in the United States because they are in a huge preparation for coming to the first, I think, if I'm not wrong, for one of the first real conference since coronavirus. We're not going to say it any other problem, but it has been the circumstances, has been the coronavirus that has kept us away from coming out. But one thing that I want to let people who might be joining us here in this part of the topic is that this show allow everyone to and specifically, if I can have our other people from the other parties, you are welcome to South Sudan today. Come and teach us what you think is right about your party, because what will take South Sudan forward is when we come and discuss our differences in peaceful and also in a very civilized way. But for that discussion, as I tell you, I want to also assure you that when we are discussing things here in this show, we are also trying to tell people and trying to model the fact that when we are in peace, we will be talking about the peace language, a language that will respect myself, respect you, and also respect the other person. But if you think that we are wrong, we welcome anybody that doesn't like Dr. Young Mashar. There's no problem here. Come and tell us why you don't like him. We welcome anybody that loves Salva Kiir so much. We have no problem. Come and tell us why President Salva is the right man in South Sudan. And that's the only way we'll go forward. But for now, I want to give some shout to the people of Australia, because You guys have worked so hard. Since I went to Australia, it was like a fire that was ignited and it kept going. I remember, Simon, when you guys received us, you were still the one of the leaders, or maybe you were the leaders by then too, of the SPLM.
I
So
was, yes, I was the interim as PLM IO chairperson here in Western Australia.
that's right. I remember that. So it's very encouraging that we are discussing the same things now. But Simon, before we dive into what we are discussing, before we talk about the red that is doing what they are doing, but there's something that's going to happen tomorrow, which is actually in the next morning. For the first time, the government of national unity, or we call it TGONI, the Transitional Government of National Unity, or the revitalized Government of National Unity, will tomorrow open for the first time a bridge. Is called a Freedom Bridge in South Sudan. And they have also invited the president candidate in Kenya, like they usually call him Baba, which is President Rail Odinga, is going to have a speech tomorrow in Juba. But how significant is this? Because the people who are supporters of SPLM IG told their people that please tomorrow dress red, because it is the SPLM IG that did the bridge. Well, let's give them the credit. What is your point?
Well, first of all, let me say hello to our viewers. As always, we applaud the commitment by our viewers to tune in and watch with us and listen with us and perhaps take some viewpoint together with us. By doing so, it allows us to have the energy and the willingness to always, perform at our best on shows like South Sudan Today. I always say it is for the viewers that we comes and talks, because without the viewers, the shows would never be where they are today. So I really appreciate our viewers, especially those who are always committed to tune in. And also, equally, there are people that probably never had the chance because of the time difference. But when they see the videos, they always go ahead and share them so that other people can have an opportunity over the coming days to look at the videos. You guys are doing great, and let us continue, because this is what we call advocacy. I said a long time ago that if you are so afraid to be seen talking about the issues of our country, there are people who have rendered their time and also their resources to advance the affairs that we believe in, to advocate on behalf of our voiceless people. And what you, as a person who is an onlooker, would do is to help us and share these ideas that we are spreading on social media. The world of change, there are no messages that we are going to be sending. There are videos, and these videos are our messages today. So thank you. In regard to what you have mentioned earlier, that there is a function that is going to, or an event that is going to take place in Juba, South Sudan, regarding the commissioning of the new bridge named as Freedom Bridge. For me, I think it is a milestone in how development should have taken place from the beginning. We live in an era where a government is judged by what they built, not what they destroyed. This statement was echoed in by the former president of the United States, President Obama, where he have said that the people in the third world and all the other nations around the world, you will be judged by what you built by your people and not what you have destroyed. Therefore, there are sentiment in our country that people must destroy things for them to be exalted. And this is what we had seen over the last 10 years, or the last 10, 15 years of our independence, or since we had the peace agreement with the then government of Sudan. People have accustomed themselves with the notion that I have to destroy things for me to earn respect. And we are here to preach the good news of the 21st century, which says that you will never be remembered for what you have destroyed. You will not be respected for what you have destroyed, but rather what you have built. Lasting legacies that remains even when you died, or when you are no longer on this world. For something like that to happen in South Sudan, it is a positive. Although we are still in civil war or in conflicts, our country need to start gearing us forward for development. There has to be more of these kinds happening across the country, not only in Juba, not only in Rumbek, not only in Baragazal or Equatoria. These infrastructures must be built across the country so that every child of South Sudan must have a sense of ownership, must have a sense of belonging. If I give us example of the first world that we live in, when you look at Australia, there are millions or thousands of bridges built. America, the same. UK, the same. When you look at all these countries, they have so many, buildings that are of use to the public. They have bridges, they have a school, they have water, they have, great sanitation. Hold on. There are kids making noise.
Our brother will be coming. Of course, we are in a world of not having a fully studio, but he will be coming. Don't go away. He will come and finish his thoughts, and will let me know when he finishes his thoughts. But
Yeah.
Welcome back. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, Ambassador Muyong, what I was saying is that I think it is a beginning of positive. These are also the fruit of peace, because without peace, we would not be talking of commissioning a new bridge in Juba or South Sudan as a country. We would be talking about who was dislodged in Juba, who captured Malakal, who captured Bentiu, and all these. These are when there are peace in the country, or when there's peace in the country, positives happen. But the notion that a party would own infrastructure, it is only in South Sudan that a party pride themselves on the infrastructure built with the resources of the country. The resources that are used in South Sudan to build bridges or schools or hospitals, these are not party resources. They are national resources that should, the praises and the regard for the building of infrastructure would go back to the abundant resources of our country. And not only to the resources, also to the people of South Sudan who are so, who are so humble to contribute the little they have in terms of taxes or in terms of donations that allow this process to go ahead. There are also other organizations that need to be recognized rather than a party. If you look at our country, South Sudan, or even when we were in former Mother Sudan, we always been dependent on organizations such as the United Nations, such as the Save the Children, and all the others. You can name them, thousands of them, if not millions. These organizations, they are the one contributing on daily basis to help South Sudanese get on their feet. And by mentioning this, for a party to claim the ownership and the pride of the commissioning of Juba Freedom Bridge, it is unheard of. In fact, it is absurd, and that is the spirit that continue to drag our country down, because we cannot continue to pride the development of our country on individuals and personalities. Thank you.
Yes, your points are within the lines of what the country wants, because as you said, these programs motto is that give peace a chance, we all win. Why? Because as we now discuss this, Simon, it is a positive move. These positive moves has been enabled to happen because we are in peace in the country. This positive move happened. Why? Because we focus in taking our country step by step to the next level. Now, the question here, which you differ with, is that why, what involves the party and the commissioning of the bridge that is significant for the entire country, and a bridge is another milestone for the entire country for what happened. But I give them a benefit of the doubt. To me, that's not the problems. The only problem is that you cannot use a national commissioning of a bridge that the entire country been waiting for as a tool to mobilize people. That part is wrong. But if we are talking about the credit, yes, let's give credit to the idea, even though this was built by South Sudan and Japan. Let's give credit to the leadership that sat and said and oversee what was happening for the country. That credit has no question. I saluted the government of national unity for working hard and making this happen. The only things that I don't agree with is that do not use a bridge that is a sign of peace for the entire country and making threat that actually goes for one party. Because look, country first, and that's what we should know. Country come first, and who will open the bridge tomorrow is President Salva Kiir Mayardit, and President Salva Kiir Mayardit tomorrow is the president of South Sudan. Is not the president of the SPLMIG. Of course, he's the chairman of SPLMIG. We understand that, but it's a government that is opening that system. It's not the party. So if you want to steal the show and give it to the one party, then that is not fair. To me, it's not fair. I love the fact that finally the SPLMIG come out and convince the country that we are better. I have no problem on this. This is actually what we should have been doing long time ago. Because, I mean, South Sudanese, they know what they like and what they don't like. My only problem with this is that we cannot use this great day and give it to one party. That is not fair. Because if we are talking about what thing has been done, then let give the SPLMIG a grade. Okay. Then if this opening or commissioning of this bridge is an A, how about the rest? So it will drag the whole GPA back to, I don't know. You can do the math yourself. But I want to congratulate the country. I want to congratulate the system. I want to congratulate the Transitional Government of National Unity for the first time of overseeing something that is very national. It is very important, and it should keep happening. The only things that I want to hear tomorrow from President's speech is to welcome the entire people of South Sudan, that this bridge belongs to them. It does not belong to the government. It does not belong to the party. It does not belong to any individuals. It belongs to people of South Sudan. So that one, I definitely agree with you. But let's give the benefit of the doubt. What the government has done is perfect. We need more of this. But let's segue to the next point.
And before we sail away, I would not disagree much with you, but the only thing I was alluding to was the fact that if you look at the resources that are being used, they are the national resources. Even if it wasn't the national resources, it's one of the two. Either they are contribution from international community. For example, you mentioned a contribution from Japan, or there are individuals who have contributed their monies into this, and therefore, for a party, just sometimes you don't. When you are in power, you are not in power to claim ownership of infrastructure. You are in power because perhaps you have been given that mandate by the people to oversee the spending of their finances, to oversee the development of the country, to oversee the peace, in the country, to also oversee the health of the people. Now it is up to you as a leader who has been entrusted with these mandates to actually practice equitable leadership in how you share and distribute these services. Unfortunately, we live in a country whereby the services are not equitably shared because of the poor leadership, just like was mentioned by Dr. Thatch earlier, that there is a quality of a leader. And when it happened that you are being led by a leader who does not have the equitability of a leader, or the characteristic of a leader, or the qualities of a leader, then there has to be imbalance in how resources are shared, in how services are also shared across the country, because there will be preference first according to that leader. So I do agree, but what I oppose is the notion that a party should claim ownership of commissioning of the bridge and pride themselves as if they were the one that fully funded the program. And even if they were the one that funded the program, there would be a question of where do they find the money from? Where did they got the money from? The money might have been either taken from the National Reserve or the National Bank. Where the money come from the resources of the country. And therefore, this is ownership of the nation. But, Comrade Muyong, let me conclude by saying this. Our leaders must be very careful on how they go forward, in how they preach their visions. Vision must be preached in a way that the citizen will know that you are preaching vision, rather than priding yourself on the resources. Okay, let the SPLM of Salva Kiir come and only preach their vision to the people of South Sudan. But when it comes to resources and priding themselves on what they have built using the resources of our country, this should not be an agenda, because the resources come from us, they come from our country. If they mismanage our resources and they use them to the advantage, then the people of South Sudan will one day turn against them and say, well, you had the resources, but you used them to your advantage and disadvantage the others that never had the chance to use the resources. Finally, this new bridge is a positive step, and it is a fruit of peace. Without peace, there can be no building of a bridge. No any other international partner that would allow their workers to come into South Sudan when there is war. So let us give credit to the peace partners. Let us give credit to the leadership that allow themselves to go to Juba and give peace a chance. Thank you. I think you mute yourself.
That's a very positive thinking, because Simon, tomorrow President will speak to the nation, and there's nothing wrong for him to tell the nation that I have built this bridge. The party that in which I am chair of built this bridge because we think is important. There's nothing wrong about it. That's actually his credit to do that. My only problem is that we cannot use tomorrow as a campaign. That's the only thing. It's not fair. It's just not simply fair for all of us.
But you already accepted the fact that it's tomorrow. I think it's today, right? It's today.
Oh yeah, it's today. Yeah, it's today there. Yeah,
so
it's
today here in Australia, which will be your time is tomorrow.
Actually, it's already today to them. Yes, that's right.
So it's going to be today that they are going to commission the bridge.
Yes.
And you already agreed that they will use it to their advantage, and to the advantage mean they will dress in red, and then they will have their motorcycle roaming everywhere.
Well, and that's the part I disagree, because what I mean to the disadvantage, the advantage is when you are in charge, right?
Yeah.
Breaks the law within the law, right? Because a president's speech is much better being a bias than telling the people that are not all SPLM IG to take those motorcycle and put color red and parade saying that we have built it. That's not right. That's not fair completely, right? But he can use his podium and say that I have built this. If it's not because the SPLM that sad to say let's do this, it would not have happened. That's right, because it's back again. People will ask him, "What have you done?" Right? That's the facts. So that's why I say that it is very important that we are fair in democracy. Now, what is happening in Jonglei? This is something that we really need to discuss, Simon. I don't know if you heard about that, because we have I would say we have a governor that is, can I say that is a governor that actually doesn't have a party, you know? He doesn't have a party. I don't question what he does. I think he's doing very fairly right. He has not done anything wrong. But the fact that he does not have a party, I think that's why he has these big problems, because he's being kicked left and right when he does nothing wrong. But tell me, you come from Jonglei. What is really happening? The deputy has been sacked today. Does that mean the governor finally found a party, or he was just right? That's why the president side with him. What is going on?
This thing dated back as far as we would remember the failing of the first peace agreement. Ambassador Muyong, you would agree with me that sometimes we South Sudanese, we do things opposite. And because we are doing things opposite, we keep finding ourselves in a scenario that is not of good, nature. For example, when you look at how the peace agreement had been, structured, it was composed based on the parties, and it was also composed based on the nature of, common interest, which is we need peace in the country. And therefore, if we bring Comrade Ambassador Muyong from this end, there is no question. No one should question where this person come from, what party they represent. If you go at, at the story of who the governor is, he come through the party of the late Gadedia, right?
Yeah, Peter. Yes.
Yes. So he come through the party of Peter Gadediak. And how did it happen? It happened because when Peter Gadet left the SPLM-IO, he went and founded his own movement or his own party. And when they were asked, what are they going to do? They joined hands with those of the Soma, of the SOA.
Yeah.
Okay, they join hands. So SOA is a corporation of different parties as well. It is not a single party. So now, when late Peter Gadediak demised, it gave rise to a new person, and this person, perhaps maybe there were not a lot of other participants within the late Gadediak party, and therefore opportunity came to the door of Honorable the governor of Jonglei. The opportunity came to him, and he grabbed them. There were also, question of whether he was qualified to take that role, not because of his school or education background, but because, in South Sudan, people perceive you when you are young, they think that you don't know anything. So the elites only know themselves. There was a campaign against him at the start that there were people who never want him to take that governorship of Jonglei State because they say Jonglei State is so diverse. Jonglei have got a lot of conflict. This guy is too young. He's not going to be able to do anything. But Salva Kiir is very smart. How is Salva Kiir smart? Salva Kiir is very smart because he knows who he can control and who he cannot control in the arenas of South Sudan. So when he realized that this young guy is coming to be a governor of Jonglei State because it was his rightful position based on the parties of the SOA, Salva Kiir went ahead and supported the nomination. And because he supported the nomination, it seemed like now there is conflicting preferences. It looked to me as if I always forget his name.
Deny.
Yeah, Governor Deny. So Governor Deny seemed to be swaying his way toward the SPLM of Salva Kiir. It seemed like the SPLM of Salva Kiir realized that this guy, we can, if we align ourselves with him, yes, he can be of a member of the SOA, but we can be also a good friends of him. And what we want is what he can preach. If you understand what I'm trying to say. So now instead of Governor Dinoy being affiliated with SOA, it seemed like Salva Kiir is having influence, like direct influence with this guy. So now it also looked like SOA doesn't have direct influence with Governor Dinoy as we speak. Okay? And now when you look at the SPLM-IO on the other hand, which is, I would say, the SPLM-IO has a majority support within Jonglei State. Now, Governor Dinoy, to me, katung nuara de we charaka luz midwe rode karode, because majority of the people in Jonglei State support the IO, and the rest goes with the SPLM-IG. Now, when you look at SOA, they don't have a lot luz mitor or something. I don't know. If you look at how he ran his politics now, from the beginning, before I go ahead, we discussed this issue long time ago with some of my comrades here.
Yes.
We have foreseen this thing. Some of our gentlemen here say that, Governor Dinoy will find it very hard to govern the state of Jonglei State. And we said why. Some said because Jonglei State, majority of them are SPLM-IO diehard. The rest are the SPLM-IG diehards. When you look at SOA, they are minimally represented in Jonglei. Therefore, we've foreseen this issue happening. One guy said, what will happen is that because Governor Dina will find that majority of people are supporting IO and the rest are supporting IG, he will try to affiliate himself with Salva Kiir. So he will get support from Salva Kiir. And this is what we are currently seeing, because SOA doesn't have enough supporters on the ground. And therefore, Governor Dina find leverage and support from this from President Salva Kiir. Now it caused problem because SOA felt that the role is not being visible. They do not have impact. They do not have direct impact on Governor Dina. The same with the SPLM-IO, do not have direct impact on Governor Dina. Now, if I can relate the current sacking of deputy governor, it seems like Governor Dina is being controlled somewhere. And to me, it looked like he's being told what to do by Salva Kiir and the leadership of the SPLM of Salva Kiir. Because it looked like
But do you know why the deputy governor was sacked?
I don't have credible information as to why. But I'm trying to relate it. I'm trying to relate it with the dismissal of the commissioner of Akobo County. Okay.
No, that's the current one that I got, and it's not also credible. I mean, not the independently verified. The problem was that when Governor Dine came to United States here for an official visit, the deputy, and this is information I did not independently verified, the deputy governor actually replaced the finance minister within the state, and finance minister is actually a relative to Dine, but he also replaced the finance minister with his own relatives while Dine was away from the country. That was one. The second was that on the 16th, when the SPLM turned, was it 38 or 39? I'm sorry, I should have known this. The May 16th was the SPLM day, and when the deputy governor gave the speech, he gave the speech in Denka. And then when he finished giving the speech in Denka, he introduced his governor in Denka, and then the governor picked it up and gave the speech in Nuer. I mean, you can see the mess now. You see, this is completely. Yeah.
Well, Ambassador Muyong, you know what? The point, I will go back to what I was trying to explain.
Yeah.
And then I will come and tackle this funny part. You know, so I'm trying to speak in the language of peace.
Okay, let's keep the peace alive.
At the moment we are trying to preach peace. There will be time also when, if this peace doesn't succeed, then we will go back to the rhetorics of what we know best. Okay, look, it seems like some people in our country, especially in certain states, do not understand the structure of this peace agreement. The structure of this peace agreement doesn't give anybody a right to sack an individual based on what you don't like. It gives you the right to make sure you sell yourself and work in the interest of peace. Hold on.
Well, as Brother Simon get something done there, let me wait for him. When he's ready, he will turn on his mic. But this part of discussing Jonglei is very interesting. but don't go
Yeah,
away. We will
yeah.
be right.
So Ambassador
Let introduce our show. Hold on your thought. Let introduce our show for a second.
I believe that if this peace agreement is implemented in full, it will give us all the reformations in all sectors that we have been yearning for. And such being achieved, if we achieve.
Thank you. Welcome back. Now finish your point, your thoughts.
Yeah. So what I was saying that it seemed like people do not understand the structural part of this peace agreement. This peace agreement is giving us a way forward that even if I don't like you, Ambassador Muyong, I have to work with you, not against you. We have to work together regardless of our differences that we know, so that we can iron all those differences out and our people can see us working in the interest of peace, and then they will come behind us and support the peace agreement. But when they see me and you working, in different tone, in different directions, then it will be very hard for the members of the society to trust us. Now, why am I saying this? I'm saying this because maybe you heard that Governor Dina sacked the commissioner of Akobo or commissioner of Akobo. There might be mistakes done by the commissioner, but the commissioner is a representative of the SPLMIO. It's a commissioner that was given through peace agreement to the SPLMIO. There is no any other person that is able to sack a commissioner without full information from the leadership of that party that actually nominated that person. That is why even Salva Kiir cannot sack Governor Dinay without the permission of SOA. Okay, so now when we get to the point of so-and-so dismissing the others, we are taking the law into our own hands, and we are making sure that this peace agreement will not be implementable because we are giving it a shortcut. We are using our personal preferences. We are using egos now rather than working in the interest of peace. I do not understand whether there are differences or not, but if I were Governor Dinay, there should be ways in which we can iron differences out, rather than me taking action and sacking this person. And this person will then retaliate with his supporters, and therefore it will make this peace agreement unimplementable. People will not trust the peace agreement.
Simon, let dissect this a little bit. And there's two ways before we come back to the final part you said. And I don't want to throw the question, but I like this to throw it before we even get to it. That let me ask, then we answer later. Of all the things that are happening now in Jonglei, there must be a loser. You know that, right?
Correct.
Now, I don't want you to answer now, but who's the loser? Okay? Now, let's get back to the point here. This is a tit for tat. And I like the explanation you gave of Governor Dinay not having a specific party that actually has ground within where it comes from. Governor Dinay come through the cracks, I would say that. He came through the crack and found himself in a world of parties in which none of which he is part of. Like you say, SWA has no base in Jonglei completely.
Yeah.
But this peace agreement is really funny, because on one end it being followed perfectly right, in another it completely opposite, right? Because the fact that you can bring Governor Dinay, after all, is a South Sudanese, right?
Correct.
He earned that position. There's nothing wrong. That's his rightful position, because that's what fall into his party. Whether you like him or not, it is his. The funny part is, and this is where actually sometimes a luck comes from the sky. You know, President Salva would be so naive if he does not take this opportunity, right? Because this lost child in politics, not a lost child, but this lost child in politics has no real address. You know, it does have an address to go to. So President Salva Kiir will definitely take the opportunity and give him a place to sit. What is wrong about it? Because he wants to fight the war of politics. On that part is right. The only thing that is not right, and that comes to the question I asked you earlier, and that will on us later, right? The deputy governor is a Stein supporter as SPLM IG, right? So is it because he's from Jonglei that's the problems, or is it because he's wrong? Because to me, what he did, and I'm not 100% right. What he did is subordination. You know, it's subordination. The deputy governor is wrong to me. But and I will say that what president did is right. The question is why he's not doing it on the other occasion where it happens. Now, if we're talking about sacking governors, which is not part of the system, well, let's go by that point. Now, if you can do it in Jonglei, what do it in some other, even in the, let's talk about the upper north, just in the opposite. The other one is the governor, and the other one is the deputy. The same thing that is being done in Jonglei is happening in upper north. Why there's no answer? Why there's no swift answer? What is it? This is the irony that I'm seeing.
Okay. Ambassador Muyong, you know, some of our issues are very complex. Issues in our country are so complex, and when you look at them, we need to look at them critically. For example, yes, you know, sometimes there are incidences where somebody will not be biased, and there are also incidences that one has to be biased in how they awarded their judgment. As I mentioned, I feel that Salva Kiir is trying to claim Governor Dinay, perhaps not directly, but through the actions that has been unfolding. It is up to Governor Dinay to peel himself off and say, I comes to this leadership through peace agreement, through my affiliation with a party called SOA. And therefore, this will give him credibility. Secondly, I do really admire Governor Dinay. The reason I admire him is because he is young. He is young, and people never thought that he would be able to hold an office for this long. He has actually defied all this, and he continued to perform. He continued to perform his duties. The only where I disagree with Governor Dinay is that, you know, don't take action into your own hands. Use the peace agreement to make decisions. This is where I differ with him. Therefore, currently, yes, I don't know the nature. You have mentioned some points in regard to why the deputy governor of Jonglei State was dismissed. I don't have evidence. I cannot talk on something I don't have evidence. But the question is now, when we have these dismissals, some of them, depending on whose judgment, can be seen as unjust and just, depending on who you're supporting. So let's say now, if the deputy governor is from the SPLM of Salva Kiir, you, Ambassador Muyong, need to give us an answer. What do you think will happen? So what do you think will happen now that Governor Dinay dismissed the deputy governor? Will it be judged as a fair dismissal, or will it be judged as an unfair dismissal? And if it's unfair dismissal, what will the SPLMIG say in regard to the peace agreement? And if it is fair, then what are the ramifications to this? Now you give us an answer. What do you think?
I think
Let's say if the deputy governor is from the SPLMIG.
it has already happened from it has already happened with if the deputy governor from the SPLMIG, right?
Mm.
Okay. You know, making two wrong will not make it right, right?
Mhm.
I'm talking within the realms of the wrong was made already, right? If you go with the side of making it wrong, then let it be wrong all the way, right? But you can be seen trying to correct some things, and you're not correcting the other side, because on the peace agreement, I believe on the peace agreement, it's only the party that can is a party that can actually sack their own person.
That's correct.
Right? It's only the party that can sack their own person. And the reason why, because they have not been elected by the people.
That's true.
They're chosen by the party. Right?
Correct.
But
correct.
That sentiment already happened, right? It has already been violated. Now, if we're talking about violating it, it become a law because it's wrong and become a law too, then let's keep it fair on both too, right? What happened in October, right? A complaint should have been sent to the governor, and then a governor should have written to the presidency that this is what's happening, whatever the case may be. The letter should have gone from the governor to the presidency and telling them that this person is this what's happened and this is what we think you have done. Now, presidency, it's something that you need to look at. Now the presidency will look, and let's say the president of the country is President Salva Kiir said, "Oh, you know what? This man will cause more a problem to us, despite the fact that it come from many of us. But now I think this man should be fired or should be removed." Then he has to first convince the head of the other party, and that's why we call them our peace partner, right?
That's correct.
Because even at the event, the chairman or the first vice president, Dr. Riek Machar, refuses, that man remain there unless he committed crimes, because that's the thing, right? Right? And that's what should have happened.
And that's why exactly I said earlier that it seemed like there are inadequate knowledge in terms of the peace agreement. It seemed like there are people who do not understand the nature of this agreement, what it constitutes and how it should be carried forth or carried forward. Because if you understand
let me get this done. 1 second.
Yes.
I'm still here.
If we understand exactly the nature of this peace agreement, it encourages us to work together. It encourages dialogue. It encourages us to be intermediates when there is a problem. When there is a problem and there's disagreement between two leaders, for example, a commissioner and the governor, if it happened that a governor come from the SPLMIG and a commissioner, or let's say the deputy governor happened to be from the SPLMIO or SOA for that matter, the peace agreement instructs us to use goodwill in terms of dialogue and understanding the nature of the problem and come up with a credible discussion and ideas on which this problem can be sorted out. Because these leaders were not elected by we, the people of South Sudan. They were not elected from our Payam, from our counties, from our bombers and all those. They were nominated in the nature of the agreement. And therefore, when one person take the law into his own hands and say, I must dismiss this person because of the problems that he or she has committed. Well, who knows? Maybe the problem he or she has committed, maybe that person was ordered by someone who is higher than him, maybe from his own party, and he has to do it because he was ordered or he's ordered by the top leadership of his party, because we come through a peace agreement, we support it, and we are affiliated to our leaders. Until that day when we are fully elected by our constituencies and we are elected by our people, then the people will have an opportunity to say what they want. So, for example, in the last month or two, there were incidences in Unity State. Now imagine those incidents in Unity State. Let's say we say that the governor and some of the county commissioners had hands in what happened in Lair. The killing in Lair, there are people who believe that the governor and some of the commissioners had a hand in it. But now imagine if one leader take the law into his hands and said, I must dismiss the governor of Unity State. I must dismiss the commissioner of Koch County or any other county for that matter. We are making the situation volatile because we are taking the law into our hands, into our own hands. And when we take law into our own hands and we move away from the books and files that are instituted to govern us, then we make the situation so ungovernable. We can never control these situations. And that is why sometimes it is highly recommended that when there are differences, we go to the books and see how are these, what does the book say on how we can manage the situation. If I were a governor of Jonglei State and there is a problem that happened in Akobo or a problem happened in Bor, and I happen to not, be in good terms with the commissioner, and I know that I come from the SPLMIO and the commissioner come from SOA, I would use the peace agreement. I would quote the peace agreement. And I would charge the commissioner based on the peace agreement. And I would use the agreement to advance the decision that I want to take place. I can even recommend that, you the SPLM-IG, or you the people, the chairperson of the SPLM, the SOA, I recommend that you change the commissioner based on the violation he or she has done. 1, 2, 3. And I would quote the agreement saying that if so and so does this, the presidency or the leadership of such a given party will take this decision. And then it will be me quoting the agreement, telling you to make the decision based on the agreement. And that will continue to advance the peace that we want. But when I use shortcut, because maybe I was instructed by my top leadership to make a decision, then I am violating the peace agreement. And people will not trust the peace agreement. And that is why we are not going to implement this agreement. Because we have leaders that want to violate the agreement, and we have people that will not trust the agreement. Go. Yes. So, Comrade Ambassador Muyong, my input into this that I don't know the nature of the conflict between the governor and the deputy governor. Perhaps you are right. I will dig deep into the information after the show. But regardless of the nature of the differences, the peace agreement warrant our leaders to discuss issues, to iron their differences out, and make sure that they have an amicable decision that will help the people of South Sudan to continue in this period of peace. Simply because there are differences between you and I doesn't mean I have to dismiss you and remove you from the helm of power. You know, we have to be honest with the peace agreement if we want our people to respect and honor the agreement. But if we don't want our people to respect the agreement and trust it, then let us continue through this means that we are using. Because the current system, the current means that we are using, it has proven beyond a reasonable doubt that it is a chaotic way of leadership. It is a chaotic way of managing the issues and the affair of the country. Now imagine the conflict of that recently happened in Unity State. If we would have jumped and say, okay, we have the deputy governor in Unity State as the SPLMIO. We don't want to work with the governor because the governor is implicated in this matter. The governor is implicated and his affiliated county commissioners. They are the ones that mobilize the youth to go and attack Lair County. We are not going to work with him, regardless. Now, tell me where we would be today.
That would be a big mess.
The peace agreement would be in a jeopardy. And therefore, the same manner should be, a symbolic example in all the other states. When you have a difference with another officer, with another deputy governor, with another governor, you have to use the framework of the agreement to advance the change that you want. And let me put this clear. There was a comment from my great comrade Munkat, who said that you guys need to be honest to yourself. How come SOA or Governor Dinay could not have people in Jonglei? He also added, you guys need to understand Dinay is Nuer, like you, and people can support him as well. Undeniably, Governor Dinay is a Nuer. In fact, he's from Low Nuer, where I come from. But sometimes, let us be very smart in how we deal with the affair of the country. Let us be, there was a time when I talk about the steps. There is a difference between a county commissioner, a payam, and all these sort that we have. When you are a leader within your clans, you speak the clan language. When you are a leader of your tribe, you speak the tribal language. When you are a leader of a county that incorporate all other tribes, you have to speak in the language of the people represented in the county. So is Payam, so is the state, and so is the country. The problem we are having in our country is that we do not want to use these steps. Just because Riek Machar is a Nuer, we want Riek Machar to speak the language of the Nuer. We need to understand that the platform in which Riek Machar is using is a national platform that incorporates all the South Sudanese people. Riek Machar cannot use a shortcut to please the Nuer because he's not a Nuer leader. He's a son of the Nuer, yes, but the platform in which he's practicing leadership incorporate all the other ethnicities, the tribes, and all the manners that we have in the country. He has to speak in that language. If you are a state governor, you have to speak in the language of the state. If you are a commissioner, you have to speak a commissioner language. If you are a Gatot, you have to speak the language of Gatot. So by saying all this, Comrade Moon, you are an intellectual. You are somebody that knows the steps of a governing body. When there is a government, you know the steps constituted to make that government work. Governor Dinay is a leader of Dinkas, is a leader of Nuer, is a leader of Anuag, is a leader of Murle, and any other tribe incorporated or included in Jonglei State. You cannot want us. You cannot want us to vividly clarify it and say, "Oh, I am a Nuer. Let me support Governor Dinay notion. Even if it was wrong or right, let me just support it because I am a Nuer." We are going to, we will be seen as people that cannot bring change in the country. We have been crying over the last 10 years saying that Salva Kiir has destroyed our country because he's advancing the affair of tribal manners. Salva Kiir does not lead the country as a leader for all. He's leading a country for the elites of the JCE. This is the language we've been preaching. So today, if we are coming into power, if we are taking over the country, for example, we must show that we are different to Salva Kiir. If our very own son is wrong, we must tell him he's wrong. Because Salva Kiir was wrong, and the community of Dinka never told him he was wrong.
Now let me interject on what Moon said, and this also relate to what caused a lot of problem in South Sudan. Moon might have meant the fact that Dinay can acquire supporters, whether because of him being a governor or of him being the sons of that area. I can understand that part. The part that I think Brother Munt mentioned at last, of saying that he is Nuer like you, and then he can get people. This is exactly the problem that is our problem, and it's also any part in South Sudan problem. Because people need to understand that a political party is a vehicle that you must get in first in order to go somewhere, right? And this vehicle has priorities, it has emissions, it has a system. So political party is I would say that any Denka or Sholo or Anywa or Nuer, any of them can be part of political parties, but not any political parties, right, can work with anybody that is not part of what that has not gathered that has not been indoctrinated first, even if I can use that word. Why? Because if Governor Dinay is going to be supported because he's Nuer, that's actually is happening. I know it's happening now. That is true, but that's not being supported. Is actually you are killing him, because the people that are supporting him, I like this funny language of Gatudal. When Gatudal they want to go to Khartoum, chika kwat ka babur ka short babur no ngajo ba dot ko makal chablo jo, so he will nyur ka babur dan be dot then ko babur tepin chi chon ta nyur tin ja dot chi babur wo ajen ko la wana ji ko ran yan chat che Gatudal ko kan ga chup ka the part dan gen kana ke. Now this is a problem, and I'm sorry for my non-Nuer speakers. This is exactly what happened when your tribe join you to support you, right? Because they can support you, but when the time comes to identify who is who, these people will never be identified because they are not part of the chip that is leaving, right? They are only there, and they will not go anywhere. So if you want your kinships and you want to support him, join his party first. Join his party first, and that will be a good support. And again, that will also be a problem to Comrade Dinay. Why? Because not only Dinay alone, anybody else. I have no problems, because in South Sudan, let's say that a Morley man will be a president in South Sudan through a party, not through a tribes. Correct. Okay? Because if youth of Jonglei come together, a Morley man will rise, or Morley women will rise to a throne for what he or she knows, right? And the people of Jonglei will say, hey, Mr. Simon or Mr. Lago is the right person for our party. And then tomorrow, he will be the president of South Sudan, not because he come from Jonglei, but because he's a man that can make his party shine in front of other people. But if we think that you come from a certain tribes and you want to support your brothers or your uncle because he came from that tribes, then you are killing the very person yourself. And that is completely wrong. Go ahead.
Yeah, just to add on, personally, I support Dinai from the beginning. And up to now, he has my support, not as PLM IO member. The reason I supported Dinai being the governor, there was a time when people said, "Oh, you know, even the Salva Kiir tried to change Governor Dinai by having a meeting with SOA, and they proposed that the governor of Jonglei State should be given back to the SPLM-IG with the notion that the SPLM-IG knows the real problem of Jonglei State, and they were, they were the very people that know the beginning of the liberation of the South Sudan. And what they were saying is that Salva Kiir said, I have to make a deal with SOA. Maybe some of you don't know. Salva Kiir wanted to make a deal with SOA. They had a meeting. He offered two national ministerial positions, okay, to SOA. Yes, two national ministerial positions, and the SOA declined. And then he said, okay, well, let me give you one national minister and the Foreign Affairs Department. And so I accepted. Okay? So they accepted that deal. The person that rejected it was Governor Dinai, because when Governor Dinai was approached by the members or the leadership of SOA, that we have got a deal now that will allow you to get one of the positions. Either you will take the national minister that will be given to us, or we can send you into a foreign affairs ministry. And Governor Dinai realized that it was a deal to push him out. Okay, so he rejected it and he refused it. Now, if that had succeeded, if we would have succeeded, it meant that the governorship of Jonglei State would have gone back to SPLM-IG. And the very person that they were going to bring, believe me, it was going to be Dr. Yegai Kok. Okay? Maybe you guys never heard all this. So the calculation from Salva Kiir was that he wanted to bring Dr. Yegai Kok by all means necessary to Jonglei State so that he can use it.
What part is Dr. Yegai Kok nowadays? It seems
well, you can question the same party. Which party is Tutkal?
Okay.
Yeah, so Tutkal is now managing the resources of South Sudan, but he's not as PLM. Okay,
but the Tutkal saga is that Salva Kiir has not found anybody that works perfectly with him in the SPLM. I mean,
no.
Come on. So they are all South Sudanese, so you can use anybody.
No. The project of Tutkal is a bigger project, beyond this show today. We need to dissect it in the near future. It's a bigger project than this. There is a reason as to why you see Tutkal doing the things he does. And there is an end result to it if it succeeded. If it will succeed, there will be an end result to it. And it's not going to be good for Salva Kiir. It's not even going to be good for the people of South Sudan. So let's just watch the shriek playing. Just watch the video playing or the movie. It's not a good movie. I don't like it. Maybe one day we are going to talk about it. But for now, let us keep it to current. So this was what was going to take place. Salva Kiir was proposing to SOA that This guy called Dinay, there were complaints from the top SPLM leadership, those of Kolmanyang, those of Makwelwe. They say that Jonglei cannot be ruled by this young man. Maybe you heard that statement from some of the Dinka elders, okay, previously. They say this young boy does not understand the nature of conflict in Jonglei State. Therefore, they wanted Salva Kiir to strike a deal with SOA so that Dinay will accept the ministerial position rather than the governorship. And if the governor was given back to SPLM IG, then SPLM IG would have that leverage to choose who they want. And according to what I know, who they wanted to take the place was going to be Dr. Regai Kok. And the reason for that was that Salva Kiir want to continue to destabilize the Low Nuer community, because the politic of Salva Kiir is divide and rule. He wanted Regai Kok to go to Jonglei State and divide the Low Nuer and make sure Low Nuer become people that have got different ideas, or people that do not have one block. Okay, if he had succeeded, that was going to happen like that. Okay, and then the next, I think Ambassador Mayong, it seems like you are frozen, or it's me.
No, we are fine. We are doing fine. But because of the time, yeah. let's get back to the last point, and speaking of this, I want to get back to who will be the loser in the end in Jonglei. Okay.
All right. Before you declare the loser, so before you declare the loser, let me say that I support the governorship of Denai. One main reason is that we, the youth of South Sudan, must be supported regardless of whichever party brought us up. If Ambassador Muyong is brought up by the SPLM IO, we must support it because he's a young man. He will speak our language. When when Governor Dinay was brought into the governorship of Jonglei State, we said, okay, let us give young minds, a chance, because they will speak our language. Similarly, when the SPLM IO nominated Port Kang, we all supported that nomination because these young people will speak our minds. The same with women. When we give women a chance, I, as Simon Chenkos, regardless of which party brought up a woman, I will support, because women will speak the mind of the children. Women will advance the peace that we want. Okay, so I support, and I will continue to say, let Governor Dinay govern Jonglei State, because he's a young man. Let us practice leadership. These old minds, it's time for them to give leadership to the young people, and let us prepare. Let them prepare the way for us to take over, and this is the way to do it. We cannot be we the young people cannot be the one against Governor Dinay. We have to support him regardless of which party he comes from. If we make the mistakes, then let us use peace agreement. If any other party nominee made a mistake, Governor Dinay must use peace agreement to judge and dismiss through the party, not direct decision making, because when you make direct decision, you are going to be against the peace agreement. So now let us take us to the path of going to discuss who is a loser and who is not going to be the loser.
Yes, the reason I'm talking about this is that's why I brought this this picture up. If you can look at this picture now, this is the SPLM IG versus the SPLM IO. I like this picture because the SPLM IG, they are sleeping. They don't care about what's happening. And the SPLM IO know that they are the alternatives, and they want to show South Sudan that we are ready to lead. This is the South Sudan we want, by the way. The tales of two parties. This is the South Sudan we want. If I say that I don't like the SPLM IG, it's because I have interest in the IO. That's something I want to tell people that are listening to me now, right? My interest lies in the SPLM IO. Now, if your interest lies in the SPLM IG, that is perfectly fine. But the only way that you will take someone that is ready to support me, even my own relatives, the only way you will take my own relatives is to show what SPLM IG can do for you, right? Not how much SPLM IG can threat you. So, and I think that this move of coming up with the two colors of red and blue is perfect. Our country need to move away. And another good thing that has done, and I want to give our opponents or our adversary a credit, the fact that they're no longer using the they are no longer using the country flag. They come up with their own color. They come up with their own party logo, which is the star, and the star that we all share. I like that part as well, because it also, I see myself in that star. But this is perfect. This is a good start, because now we leave the government to the people of South Sudan. It is these parties, and even I'm waiting for SOA to come up. It is the party that will come to talk to people of South Sudan, that this is what we got now. This is what we will be doing. And that's why you and I, Comrade Simon, not because we are just from the community of Nuer. No, I'm very soon we will be here as South Sudanese. We will have all tribes in this show supporting one party, which I believe will be SPLM IO. Don't tell this to SPLM IG. Okay? So now the point here is that if we are going to have a country, we must be real to our people. We must know that the power begins within our own people. If we know that if you are not putting your act together, thinking that Mr. X above there will bring me tomorrow, then when we go to the field, you will not come. Again, Simon, as we come to the end of the show, I want to give credit to our people of the SPLMIO wherever they are. If you are a member, a supporter of SPLM-IO, please be a peacemaker. Please be a peacemaker, okay? Love the red, but displace them, because they are our people, but we can govern South Sudan better than them, and we can discuss that with a language that accepts everybody. But now let's go to who's the loser in Jonglei. And here, this is my text, Simon, and you can go opposite way, right? The loser in Jonglei will be the deputy governor and his people. And let me explain here.
Okay.
President Salva decided to disassociate himself with one of the powerful men. The deputy governor is one of the very noticeable leader within the SPLM IG. What went wrong, I believe, is not the problem in Jonglei. Okay? Antipas came with this problem in Juba. And if I were him, I would not do what he's doing. That is one. Because one is a young man just like us, maybe older than both of us, but he has a brighter future ahead of him, But the way he what he conducted here, if President Salva has never done something right before, he did something right today. Why? Because you cannot do subordinate to a system that brought you, right? And the reason I think that he will be the loser, why? Because the party of SPLM-IG will not accept him. I know that you might think that is there, but the same thing will happen to him. I'm not saying that he cannot fight his right. If he's talking about what Dinay that has done wrong, right? Yes, he should have shown to people. In fact, Dinay I would say in politics is very loose. He can sway anywhere. They have been given a chance in their own state that they can take Dinay to become a good SPLM IG. But now the president has seized that and is taking opportunity of that. In fact, if Antipa doesn't realize that this governor, Dinay, will actually replace him not only in Jonglei, but even within the SPLM party. I can see that. Now, who do you think is going to be the loser?
Oh well, it's very hard to award a loser based on the current situation. But I will go further by saying this. I am someone who always make my decision based on the agreement I've read so many times. Anybody that is contrary to the agreement, in my eyes and in my views, is always going to be a loser. And if not so, then the peace agreement will be the loser. That is my belief. If we were before the agreement, yes, I might have a direct judgment, and I would say the deputy governor will be loser, or the governor will be the loser. But in regard to the current judgment, where we are talking about the agreement, and we're trying to fully implement the agreement, and one man is taking the law into his own hands, and then being supported by another elite or another top leadership, in my regard, what will suffer is the agreement, because we cannot hijack the peace agreement and support the hijackers of the peace agreement and believe that the peace agreement will continue to be fully implemented. Well, if we continue to do this, then we are not being sincere to the people of South Sudan, and we are not being sincere to the peace agreement, Ambassador Mayon. So I cannot say, I don't know the nature of the differences. Can you guys keep quiet? I'm talking. Thank you. So the nature of the peace agreement dictates any preferences. It dictates any person affiliating himself with so and so because they are brothers and sisters, or so and so as cousins. So Ambassador Muyong, I don't know the full scale of this issue. I cannot talk on something I don't know. All I came across yesterday was that the deputy governor is being dismissed. But what are the nature of these, and why Salva Kiir supported Governor Dinay?
Governor Dinay.
I don't know. Perhaps maybe there is also differences between the deputy governor and Salva Kiir. But my statement here is that I'm fully a supporter of the agreement. I'm not a supporter of Salva Kiir. I'm not a supporter of Dinay. I'm not a supporter of anybody. I'm a supporter of SPLMIU and a supporter of the peace agreement. What I was saying that I support Dinay as a governor, it is within the spirit of the agreement. If Dinay was nominated by SOA to be the governor of Jonglei State, and we all agree let Jonglei State be taken by SOA, I have to support that because I love the peace agreement. So who is going to be a loser and who's going to be a winner? I will leave it to the really great judgment that you have awarded. But I still believe that. But let nobody take my judgment. I still believe Governor Dinay here is standing on a shaky ground. Okay, regardless of whether he get upper hand support from Salva Kiir, he's still standing on a shaky ground. The reason I say is because Governor didn't come through the ticket of SOA. If SOA today agree, and the membership of SOA as a whole agree that they want to replace Governor Dinai, Salva Kiir cannot save him. You tell me Salva Kiir can save him.
And let me tell you, and
Mhm.
it's still wrong. It should not even happen, but it has happened, right?
Mhm.
You know, let me use a wrong analogy, right?
Mm.
In politics, it's all about numbers,
Mm.
not the quality, okay?
Mhm.
In politics, it's all about interest. If you can play my interest today, that is enough.
Mm.
So tomorrow will have its own colors. As we speak today, right?
Mhm.
Governor Dinay is completely a taxi driver to the party of SPLM because he's able to drives these needed things that no one else can do, right? For them, and that's why he accept to sack the Akoba commissioner, right? The reason he does that is because it will be between they within there will be someone that actually try to support another party that is not the ruling party. Then if you can see that these people can be sacked, I think the power will light on this place, you know. So there's more to get from Governor Dinay than Antipas today, okay? Because Governor Dinay had three cards: the card of being Nuer, the card of him not even having a party, and the card of actually accepting the job that no one else can do. And that's why I think he's in good hands as we speak today. You know, this man called Antipas here, there's some other problem that I might not even discuss here, right?
Okay.
And these are the problem of Jonglei. You people of Jonglei, you need Jonglei dialogue. By the way, you really need that. If you don't, if you don't have that Jonglei dialogue.
Governor Dinay said a long time ago, when he came into power, he said, the Jonglei, he said the Jonglei problem need Jonglei solution. All right, so I don't know if now is taking us to the Jonglei solution or Jonglei problems, because uh, if Jonglei conflict or Jonglei problem need Jonglei solution, well, now Salva Kiir is not a Jonglei solution. Is a Barghazal solution.
That's what.
Why is Barghazal? So now the Jonglei are not being the solution makers here. The solution is coming from Barghazal.
You mentioned a word earlier that divide and rule. Okay, so
Yeah.
divide and rule, as long as it works, anybody can use that, right? So Jonglei needs a Jonglei discussion dialogues. I mean, so that they need to know, they need to see themselves beyond tribes. You know,
Mhm.
they need to see themselves beyond tribes. We were discussing something earlier with Dr. Thaj that
Mhm.
your immediate neighbor
Mhm.
is the only person that will help you, Simon. You know.
Exactly. Now pause there. Now pause there. Now pause there. So that is exactly true. We live and I like the explanation from Dr. Taj. And it is true, and it is something that we, the South Sudanese people, need to understand wherever we live in Western world. Like now, I live here. My right hand neighbor is a white man. My left hand neighbor is a white man. The front of my, which is the opposite to the street, is a white man.
Mm-hmm.
And then further right on the opposite is a white man. Further left is a white man. So now now imagine if I'm trying to disassociate myself with this neighborhood and try to be a neighborhood of someone who is living 50 kilometers away.
Mhm.
When my problem comes, who is going to be my immediate comforter? The person living 1 second away from me. And I like that explanation because, and that's why I'm telling you to pause from there. Now, if you rightfully say that, well, Governor Dina is wrong here because his rightful neighbor is the very same deputy governor that is dismissing. Deputy governor is dismissing. Salva Kiir is not his rightful neighbor.
Yeah, and that's that's what I'm saying, because the
And
nature.
before you go on the same note,
Mhm.
I personally I base every judgment of mine on the agreement. I don't want to go away out of agreement because tomorrow, if the agreement fails, it means we are going back to war. And I will come here and also defend the SPLM IO because the peace agreement has been destroyed. If it failed, I'm talking about if the agreement failed. But now I'm defending the agreement and the position of the SPLM IO based on the agreement. I don't want to support anybody that is moving away from the agreement because I know the end of all these results, that we are doing now. The end of our miscalculation now will be a conflict in South Sudan, and the conflict will haunt us again. So now, when we support someone who is taking a personal decision, and it will be supported by a top leadership because they have supported that personal decision. Well, we are indirectly destroying the agreement. We are indirectly destroying the agreement, and that is why I never agree with Medina dismissing the commissioner of Akobo in the first place. I don't agree with any notion, whether I don't like the commissioner or not like the commissioner. That is not my interest. My interest is advancing the agreement so that the people of South Sudan can support the agreement. If you dismiss a commissioner because you don't like him, well, then you are telling me that the peace agreement is unimplementable. Because the commissioner that you dismiss or a deputy governor you are dismissing, at least there are one or two individuals that are supporting him. Are you dismissing him together with his supporters?
Well,
so my comment here is that I support Governor Dina as a rightful governor, as a chosen nominee by the SOA. But I don't want Governor Dina to go out of the line of the peace agreement by taking the law into his own hand with the support from a certain actor, and in this case, Salva Kiir. Because this deputy governor, I don't know what the differences are, but this deputy governor, let me assure you, he has supporters. And when you use shortcut, are you going to dismiss him together with his supporters while we are in peace? The answer will be
Simon.
no.
Simon,
Mhm.
don't forget that the very peace we are talking about,
Mhm.
people have already calculated the end of the peace. Because the peace initially means to stabilize the country and go back to the system in which the power will go to people of South Sudan.
Correct.
In which a leadership will be chosen based on how many people that think that leader is the right leader. But for that to get there, right? For that to get there, someone needs to drive it his own way so that it will get there. And that's where the politics is being played here. Even with us in Iowa too, we cannot be naive again. So that tomorrow, in word they say that kirara gor wat chang regade gor wat the kare right? That means that don't get friends when you have a problem.
Yeah.
You must have a friend before you have a problem. Because when you have
Before your problem comes.
so when you have a problem, then that when you will know your friend who's actually your real friend, right? As we move toward the exit of this peace agreement that we have, people need allies, and getting these allies, mistakes will be made, and political mistakes. Politicians don't call them they have mistakes. They call them their operational system in way to navigate to the next point, right? Even Governor Dina himself, where is his interest now? His interest lies on someone that will keep giving him a job. And if giving a job means you must have people that are many that support you, then you can see the writing on the wall. The reason Salva Kiir chosen Governor Dinay is directly a plan for the election that we think will not happen. Because in Jonglei, Law Nuer are majority. Let's get the facts here. You know that, right? Okay. The Law Nuer that are majority, they have nothing to do with the SPLM IG. But they have something to do with the Nuer man. That's what Mooncut was meaning in the wrong sentence, in the wrong part, right? Now, if Governor Dinay is being supported by the chairman of the SPLM IG, and Governor Dinay is a Nuer, and the Nuer are the majority in Jonglei state. You see how politicians are very smart here, right? Then they will say, okay, I think finally we have a friend, because it's time also for Law Nuer to lead Jonglei, and that's the reason why Governor Dinay come in the first place, because this is how to get these people. Even this Rekok, the reason why Rekok did not come. Governor Rekok has some issues too with people within Jonglei, but this young fresh man who has nobody that know him will be the only person. So politically, this is what I see that happen. Is wrong with Salva Kiir? No, but it will only be answered by another political move, and this political move, someone will lose. So if the SPLM IO, who are happening to be Jonglei people, don't read this very well, it will get to us. Go ahead.
Okay, that's your understanding, and perhaps you will receive some support or people that will agree with you. And on this note, I'm not saying I disagree with you entirely, but you need also to understand that we are in a peace agreement. And with peace agreement, there are people that always want to make sure that we pinpoint things rightly, so that tomorrow, if something goes wrong, there is someone to hold to account. At the moment, the only anchor that we believe in is the agreement. People, the supporters of the SPLM-IO do not and will never believe in Salva Kiir at this point in time. And so are the supporters of the SPLM-IG. And so are the supporters, perhaps if there are supporters, of the SOA. They will never believe in, especially the supporters of SOA will never probably believe, or will probably never believe in Salva Kiir and the SPLM-IG. But we all have an opportunity to believe in the agreement, because the language of the peace agreement represent me, it represents a member of the SPLM-IG, it represents a member of SOA, and it also represents even those who are outside the agreement. Hold on.
Okay, brother Simons might be trying to get something done here, and we are coming to the end of our show, probably because we have been exhausting this discussion very well. But we are talking about the Jonglei political problems that has landed to removal of the deputy governor. and we're trying to see here what is really behind what is happening. We from the SPLMIO, we have nothing to do with this, but personally, my reading here is that we will definitely welcome back. Are you okay? Can we hear you now? Okay, that's right.
Yes, yes.
My reading with this is that I believe the chairman of the SPLM-IG, which is the president of the country, is making a move in which the SPLM control area, which is predominantly the Launwer, will seem to have one of their son being favored, and I see that as a political move. So if we don't pay attention to that, then tomorrow we will be surprised that yes. So anyway, let's come to the conclusions. Give us your last recap of what you think our viewer want to get. But before I get to you, let me give thanks to the people that are watching here. We have Nyapini, I don't know if you're still there. Thank you for coming. Of course, Bolrick, you've been there for us. Simon Garwich Kwan, yes. And Nyawarga Chul, of course, you guys receive us very, very nicely when we went to Canada. So I cannot forget to mention that. I was just talking about our distant relatives who happen to be Australia. So if I talk about here, definitely there's no way to mention you guys. You did receive us perfectly well. Penina Deng, thanks for watching. David Amor, thanks for coming. Brother Munkat, again, thanks for coming. Ajak Deng Cheng Kao, thanks again for coming to watch. And if you have any contribution, you can also contribute. This show is for sure South Sudanese show, and we will welcome your contributions. If you think that what we discuss is something that you do not like, you have all the right to tell us, but it must be constructive criticism. You don't just say no just for the sake of no. But if there's something that we discuss and you like it, please let us know so that we know that we are in the same position. I would like to say thanks to Ben Gaj, Andrew Konga, Dejek for coming, John Grang, and again David for coming. I want to say thanks to all of you, and God will medit Tungwar Yang Tungwar is watching from Khartoum. Thank you very much for watching. I want to go back to Simon to give us his recap on what we discussed today. Go ahead, Simon.
At this stage, I'm happy that we are seeing peace agreement at least bearing bits of fruits. Earlier, we talked about the today commissioning or opening of the new bridge, which is named as Freedom Bridge. We said earlier that it is a show that peace agreement is indeed working, because without peace, we would not be able to be in a position of building any infrastructure. Our country would not be in a position of talking about commissioning of a certain important project. And that is why every time when you look at me talking about the agreement, I am a passionate fan of this agreement. And the reason I'm a passionate fan of the agreement is because I believe if this agreement is fully implemented without hindrance through preferences, it can give us at least a settlement where our people can come back to their homes and plow their lands and feed their families and make sure that we eradicate poverty and make sure also we build our country. That is why sometimes when there are things that can actually hinder the process of the full implementation of the agreement, I always pinpoint them out. And I always blame the leadership, especially the SPLM RG leadership, because they are the number one impediments of this agreement. They are the ones that are working on daily basis to make sure that agreement is never implemented in full, because all they believe in is that they want the big chunk. They want the big chunk rather than seeing the fruit of the agreement, rather than concentrating on the fact that let us just implement this agreement and then the fruit will be enjoyed by all. That is why I keep blaming them, because if they support the agreement, as they always say on the papers, then this agreement should have been implemented nearly 2 years ago. But because they don't want it to be implemented, and they are the number one impediment of the agreement, they want to continue to delay it and delay it and delay. So peace is good. Peace is good for development. Peace is good for harmony. Peace is good for governance. Peace is good for advancement of multipartism. And who can we appreciate? Then the SPLMIO. The SPLMIO must be supported and must be supported across the country, because it is the only party that actually brought these changes. Every transformation in the country that you are going to see or that you have already seen, any infrastructure that you are seeing being built, any development that will take place, it is because of the selfless offer of the SPLMIO. That is why I believe that SPLMIO is a party to be reckoned with in the Republic of South Sudan. When you talk about multipartism, in the Republic of South Sudan, it is SPLMIO that is advancing this affair. If you talk about the development in the country, it is the SPLMIO that is preaching it. When you talk about peace and harmony, it is SPLMIO that is advancing it. When you talk about development, even the bridge that we are going to see today, if it wasn't for the selfless offer of the top leadership of the SPLMIO, maybe today this bridge would not have been built, because all of us would be dodging bullets. So I am positive that as soon as we continue to build on this peace, as soon as we achieve the full implementation of the agreement, South Sudanese will have no any other place. Excuse me. South Sudanese will have no any other place better than the SPLMIO, because they will reflect on the conflict. They will reflect on how far we have come. They will reflect on all the hard decisions the SPLMIO top leadership had made to make sure that peace is returned to the country. All these lies, all these rhetorics that are okay. You come in. Okay.
Yes, thank you very much. As we coming to an end, you have really put a case that is very constructive for anybody that might think otherwise. And to pick it up from where I stopped you, this party became what it is because of emissions. This party became what it is because it represents the people, does not represent the individuals. And one thing that is very, very important, people need to know, this bandwagon that our people have created, that everyone jump into, thinking that this party, that party belong to the chairman or the leader of the party or the leader of whoever the group is. I want to tell our people that are watching now, whether you support SPLM-IO or not, go back, take a look at the past, where this come from. SPLM-IO at the beginning was correcting the problem in the entire South Sudan. Not a problem of certain tribes, not a problem of certain leaders, not a problem of corruptions alone, a problem of a nation that as we were celebrating the country, the nation that we call South Sudan, we need to make it a democratic nation that we live in. And to make this a democratic nation, we must have a party that recognize everyone in South Sudan. If you look at the office of the first vice president today, just look at that office. You know, the people that are in it are South Sudanese. They come from all part of South Sudan. Even at a time where one community were targeted, you know. But Dr. Rengmachar said that if it happens, let follow the path of peace, so that the rest who are alive will unite. But do not let anyone lead you to think that, hey, your leader is selfish. Dr. Rengmachar is one of the educated few in South Sudan. He's a UK citizen. He would have been anywhere teaching in university, anywhere in this world. But he punched his chest saying that let's work for our country. Even President Salva Kiir, he spends more than half of his life fighting for the right of South Sudanese. It is this end, at the time that we came to the end of our problems, that we have missed. I want to say thanks to all of you for watching tonight, for a show that we want to change the rhetoric. If you want to come to SPLM-IO just because you have seen Nuer in it, then you are coming to a wrong party. If you come to SPLM-IO just because you think that SPLM-IO signed a peace and then I will be given a share of what is going to be distributed, you are come to a wrong party. If you come to SPLM-IO just because you think that you have an educated background, that you will take over from people that have not go to school because they were fighting for the right of the country, you're coming to a wrong party. Come to SPLM-IO as someone that will help to build it. That someone that will help to take it from this level to the next level. Tomorrow, you will be the leader of this party. But with that saying, I want to give a little short point of recap of what we have discussed today. As Simon did, we did discuss about the freedom bridge that is coming. That bridge belongs to you, it belongs to him or her, and it belongs to me. But for that bridge to be enjoyed, we must have peace in this country. And this peace will come from all of us. Wherever you are, find a South Sudanese. If you don't know him or her, know him or her right away. And if you know him and you have no reason to meet him, find a reason to meet him. Because for our folks, I want to tell you one thing. I am from Upper Nile. And I'm an SPLM-IO member. But here's the reality. I'm a Nuer by tribes. And I believe those Sholo in Upper Nile will do me more than my Nuer people in Low area or in Bentiu, because they are not part of my state. Even the very Simon that in front of me here, I don't see how he can help me apart from picking me up on a side of his road that I can jump into his car to go somewhere. But if I want to be somebody, if I want to run for an office, I must make sure that the Denka in Upper Nile, the Sholo in Upper Nile, the Mabans in Upper Nile, the rest of the tribe in Upper Nile are on my side. I will focus on them because they are my neighbor. They are my constituencies. Then there's nothing wrong that I'm Nuer. Of course, I have relative within in Law, I have relative within Bentiu, but because they are part of Jonglei and I want to be in politics, they can't help me that much. They cannot. Well, they have money, but they have to help me through something that can only be within where I come from. So that's what I want to tell you guys. And ladies, be constructive enough if you want to correct something. Let's not tarnish ourselves. This country belongs to us, and I want you to come every day to watch what we discuss about SPLM tonight. Simon, it has been great time with you. I enjoy your time and your knowledge in this politics. You are one of the young South Sudanese who is rising up, because tomorrow this will belong to someone like you. I want to say thank you, and until next Wednesday, goodbye for now.
Thank you, Ambassador Myong. Thank you. It's a great privilege also to come and share the podium with you, as well as our viewers. Let us continue to advocate what we believe is the rightful information, and also let us shelve what we believe is not right information. I believe in the agreement, and my interest is anchored on the agreement. I'm not going to talk much on the failure, because the failure of the agreement, we will know the repercussions. For now, because the agreement is roaming around the country, let us preach about it, let us support it. Our movement is doing greatly, because the changes that we are seeing now in South Sudan, it is because of the selfless decision made by the top leadership of the movement. We have sacrificed immensely to make sure that our people come back to our country and peace prevail in the country. So I really appreciate this show, and I'm always privileged and honored to be part of it. I really also have to acknowledge the presence of Dr. Thatch earlier. He's a well elaborate, leader in our community and the world as well, because the knowledge he has is not only for us, it's for the global community. And every time we see him, we have to show him support, because people like that, they give their knowledge for free to us. But in the world of today, in Western world, knowledge like that is being paid money. You pay money to be given such a knowledge. So when he comes here and he preached to us and he talked to us about issues for free, it should be recommended and it should be appreciated. Because if he's talking to other communities, or if he's being invited to other communities or organizations, he will be paid for it. So we are thankful to having him on weekly or daily occasion. Thank you so much, Ambassador Myong. We will meet again in the near future.
Thank you very much. You have a nice afternoon, and good night in America, and good day in the African continent. Goodbye.
Chudan ni mara doran, chudan ni mara siendan, chudan ni mara doran ni boy to one no kalo ke kaden mit ke sibulum nyamakaria sibulum nyamakaria sibulum nyamakaria ejeng kitiro ejeng oketin sibulum nyamakaria nyandita kutara la du dogomo nyandita kutara la du dogomo ay nyandita kutara la du dogomo nyandita kutara la du dogomo.
Peace agreement is implemented in full. It will give us all the reformations in all sectors that